Tonight, we bring you to northern Labrador, where the Inuit government is grappling with hackers.
At this point in time, we are confident that there has been no misuse of the public's data.
Thousands of Nunatsiavut members have their private information stolen in a cyber attack.
One outfitter here in the Codroy Valley says his business will completely go under once World Energy GH2 puts wind turbines on the Angel Mountains.
There's no other choice. I mean, you can't hunt around all those roads and windmills and expect to have moose. You can hunt, but I mean, it's not, the animals won't be there.
I'll have his story tonight on Here and Now.
A few hundred people marched today from Memorial University to Confederation Building in protest of climate change. I'm Jeremy Eaton and I tagged along, and I'll have that story coming up.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Peter Cowan, filling in for Carolyn. We'll get to those stories shortly, but first, there are 13 more charges tonight to tell you about against 32-year-old Marcus Hicks of Paradise. He's accused of luring young people over social media. The new charges include luring a child, 3 counts of sexual assault, 4 counts of disguise with intent, and both possessing and accessing child pornography. Police first charged Hicks earlier this month, accusing him of using fake names on social media to lure people into sexual acts. 4 more people have come forward with accusations, leading to the most recent charges, according to police. That brings the total number of people making accusations against Hicks to 10. The teacher and volleyball coach remains in custody as police continue to investigate. In the meantime, the RNC is warning people about internet safety.
Everyone should be wary about speaking with people online that you do not know personally. Pictures and profiles can be fictitious, and the person you are speaking with may not be who they seem to be. Please report any suspicious activity and people to the RNC.
The Nunatsiavut government fears hackers have access to private information for up to 7,500 people. It includes details about medical travel, students' financial information, as well as dates of birth, MCP numbers, addresses, and phone numbers. Legal counsel for the Nunatsiavut government tells Here and Now that it did negotiate with the hacker and is confident the data has not been used.
What I can assure beneficiaries of the land claims agreement is that no money from NG was ever put forward in exchange for the deletion of any data.
Do you or does the Nunatsiavut government believe that the hacker deleted what they took?
We can never be 100% sure that they did. Based on our conversations with ADS, we understand that this particular group of threat actors has given similar reassurances in the past, and those reassurances have been accurate. Because we can't be 100% sure, we're erring on the side of caution, which is why we've issued this public notification this morning.
There are lots of questions about this. You'll hear more of Anthony Germain's interview about the privacy breach in about 25 minutes on Here and Now. Meanwhile, the Office of Information and Privacy Commissioner is responding, saying it takes these data breaches very seriously, but it doesn't know how this breach will be investigated. In their statement, they say, in part, it's important to note that the company that experienced the data breach serves multiple clients in multiple jurisdictions. So part of the process will be liaising with our colleagues in the coming days and weeks, whether that involves launching our own investigation, coordinating privacy oversight, or if it makes sense to do so. Meanwhile, the RCMP says charges have been laid in connection with a fire at the Shehajit Innu First Nations Band Council office earlier this month. Police have charged a youth from the community as part of the investigation into this fire, but wouldn't provide any further details about those charges. The blaze started early in the morning of September 4th. Fortunately, no one was inside the Band Council office at the time of the fire, but the building was completely destroyed. To the west coast of the island now, where a longtime outfitter in the Codroy Valley is worried about his business and whether it'll be ruined by the construction of wind turbines. Art Ryan believes the proposed hydrogen ammonia mega project will destroy wildlife. Here Now's Colleen Connors has more from Doyle's.
These rows of utility vehicles in Art Ryan's lawn will soon be filled with hunters from across North America and Europe. He'll take them to the top of the Angel Mountains in the Codroy Valley to hunt moose, the same spot World Energy GH2 plans to put wind turbines.
I don't make too much of it. It's going to destroy the hunting business up there. And it's gotta. There's no other choice. I mean, you can't hunt around all those roads and windmills and expect to have moose. You can hunt, but I mean, the animals won't be there.
He's run Mountaintop Outfitters for 23 years. His father started it in 1960. The same hunters return each year, wanting a piece of Ryan's 98% success rate. If the area becomes a giant construction zone with 150 kilometers of new roads and 180-meter-high wind turbines, he thinks hunters looking for an exclusive experience won't come back. He wants to pass the business on to his son. But if World Energy GH2 moves in, the family business and history could soon be gone.
It's sickening because that was a dream of mine, to keep it going, keep it going.
World Energy's plan includes 164 wind turbines here at the top of these mountains to power a massive hydrogen ammonia plant. Both this wind farm and one on the Port-au-Port Peninsula will need a network of new and upgraded access roads to transport equipment. Ryan believes these wide roads will scare off moose.
There's no way moose is going to hang out there. They wouldn't. It just don't make sense.
This biologist says the initial impact of road construction and wind turbine development will be the biggest issues for moose.
So if they're able to survive, which is the main thing, I think they can use that area. Now, and that's going to depend on the amount of habitat. How much is still left there? Did we remove too much forest where they have nowhere to come back to? Or is there enough really increase in hunting pressure where if they are there, it's just a very risky area for them to be?
Leroux, who has studied moose environments for over a decade, says over time, the moose will adapt to the wind turbines.
A couple of years, the moose will be adapted to that development, and then I think their behavior relative to the turbines themselves will probably be almost normal, although they'll become normalized.
But Ryan said he's still worried there won't be any moose left to hunt once the area is opened up. The company told CBC it is talking with outfitters near the project, and it plans to avoid affecting the hunting season, but didn't elaborate on how it would do that. World Energy GH2 says there may be circumstances where compensation would be awarded to some outfitters. Art truly doesn't believe that World Energy GH2 will go through with putting wind turbines on the mountains. He says the environmental repercussions are just too big. But either way, he says he will not sell his business or move his business. Colleen Connors, CBC News, the Codroy Valley.
We went right back into summer weather today across at least most of the island anyway. Very humid out there this afternoon. Temperatures topping out at about 22 degrees in St. John's today, 23 in Badger. We've got lots of temperatures in the 20s across the island. St. Anthony just missed the mark there, 19 degrees. And then we have single-digit temperatures up across a good portion of the north coast of Labrador. 8 degrees in Nain today. If we take a look at what's going on, all eyes on Hurricane Lee as it continues its track northward tonight. We do have a cold front that is tapping into some of that tropical moisture that is bringing the rain, or did bring the rain earlier today through portions of the island, and we're still seeing some showers right now. But as we head into the evening hours now, we're seeing some of that heavy rain make its way towards portions of Nova Scotia. That will continue as we head through the night tonight. Lots more showers on the way for our neck of the woods as well. No direct impacts from Hurricane Lee, but we do have some warnings. One warning, wreck house wind warning in place. I'll get into all those details and what to expect coming up.
Thanks, Ashley. A 43-year-old man died in a crash on the Trans-Canada Highway near Butter Park exit yesterday afternoon. The man, who was driving in the eastbound lane, crossed the median and crashed into a westbound vehicle. The driver of the other vehicle was injured in the crash. While emergency crews were at the scene, the RNC ticketed 4 people who were using cell phones while driving, some of them to take pictures of the crash. The RNC says they're still investigating the crash. And police were also involved in a drug bust in downtown St. John's. The RNC showed off what they confiscated at a press conference today: a sawed-off shotgun and a handgun-style BB gun. 25 ounces of cocaine, which police say would go for about $70,000 on the street, was also seized. A number of what are believed to be oxycodone pills and $4,000 in cash. The bust happened Thursday at a house on Merry Meeting Road. 3 people have been charged, a 40-year-old, a 31-year-old from Ontario, and a 43-year-old from St. John's. The constabulary is asking anyone with information to call them or Crime Stoppers. Well, changes to how workers qualify for EI have many seasonal workers upset. Ottawa says that because the unemployment rate outside of St. John's has dipped, workers outside the metro area will have to make up more hours in order to qualify. Here Now's Sarah Blackmore has the reaction.
By now, thousands working in the fishery have typically wrapped for the season, especially plant workers whose hours are at the will of the fisheries.
There's nothing we can do, really. Where we're going to all find work now? In a small community, we depended on the fishery.
Strickland's qualifications for employment insurance have changed. It's the case for about 20,000 people in the industry. The FFAW estimates many will be 6 weeks short of benefits prior to the next work season.
It's disastrous. There's no other way. You have people that don't have income for a full year, and there's only so long you can work in a fishery. If it was year-round, all these people would be working year-round. But they're doing what they have to do.
The provincial government wrote a letter on Tuesday calling on the federal government to reconsider.
I think the biggest thing is encourage the federal government to look at the impact that this decision is going to have on the individuals that we all represent, and let's try to find some way forward to help those individuals. I mean, the timing is the biggest issue that I see, and if there was more time and given to us earlier, given to the people earlier, there could have been decisions made.
Some think that the EI system doesn't reflect the realities of the province.
Employment insurance regulations as well, they're set by economic regions, and in Newfoundland and Labrador we just have 2, Metro, St. John's, and then everything else in rural Newfoundland and Labrador. And the economic reality in those communities varies greatly.
I'm speaking now to the federal government. Please, especially our MPs that we got up there, right? Please, they should understand about us, right? They're from Newfoundland too. And they should know the ups and downs of the fishery or the tour any time in the season.
In a statement on social media yesterday, federal Labour MP Seamus O'Regan said his team is working on it and that people have a right to be anxious. PC critic David Brazel says the Labour minister's letter indicates there's a breakdown in communication between the province and Ottawa.
Because we've seen this 4 or 5 times in the last couple of months. Letters being sent after the fact, after a decision has been made. I would have thought that if you have a working relationship, and even if you're not cousins in Ottawa, you should have a mutual respect that you should be engaged in whatever decisions are going to be made that directly are going to impact your citizens, and that apparently hasn't happened here.
In the meantime, seasonal workers like Doretta Strickland are left wondering how they're going to get through next winter. Sarah Blackmore, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, speaking of Ottawa, Ottawa is planning to drop the federal tax on the construction of new apartment buildings in order to address the growing housing shortage across the country. Now, the province says it's willing to join in that effort. So right now, there is a 15% harmonized sales tax in this province, but that's a blended levy with 5% going to Ottawa, 10% going to the province. Provincial Finance Minister Siobhan Cody says the province is also willing to drop its share of that tax, which could mean big savings for builders.
We want to encourage more rental units, and this is one way we encourage more rental units. Are there other things that we must do? Absolutely. That's why we put $70 million. We spend about $140 million a year in affordable housing in Newfoundland and Labrador. We've added an opportunity now to encourage the private sector and others, the social economy as well, to make new rental units. So this is in addition to that.
Well, the federal plan proposes a tax break on the goods and services needed to construct apartment buildings consisting of 4 units and larger. So the construction of 2 apartment homes or basement apartments wouldn't qualify. Critics say this is a shortcoming, and some question whether the tax breaks will actually curtail the pattern of sharply increasing rents.
It will make, no doubt, building the properties affordable. But will those savings necessarily be, in more affordable rents for those who have to rent? That's my concern. So I think we need to have, I'm concerned it won't.
Hundreds of students, teachers, and professors marched from Memorial University to Confederation Building today in St. John's. It's part of the global movement called Fridays for Future. And today's group is calling on the province to end subsidization of fossil fuels. Here now's Jeremy Eaton tagged along.
So we're a global organization. Newfoundland and Labrador is just one chapter. It was started by a group of high school students from Holy Heart in 2019. We've been full force ever since. In 2019, we had 8,000 people striking. So one issue we're really focusing in on today is the Bay du Nord project. So we know that this project will start drilling oil in around 2029, but we also know that the IPCC states the global temperature will reach probably 1.5 degrees Celsius by 2030. So this project is a waste of time, money, resources.
I'm here today because I think climate change is a very serious issue that we need to start taking action for.
Why was it so important for you to be here today, Julia?
Because I think it's a really important cause and it needs to get more attention.
I'm here today because my future is important and it doesn't seem like the government cares as much as they should. And yeah, we're just trying to show them.
Because I want to protect our planet, and it's important to me that nature is preserved. We're here, so we want to make sure that we stay here.
I think it's really important because a lot of times people look for older generations when we're the ones who are going to have to live here in the future.
I think it's really important to stand up for what we believe in and just fight back.
We are taught in school all about what's going on with our planet, how it's changing, how we are responsible for it. Our governments aren't doing enough, our school isn't doing enough. We're here to try and make whatever changes that we can.
Why was it important to take time off whatever you were doing today to be here today?
So I can do whatever I want to next week. I feel like the solutions are in front of us. I'm a geography major. I study environmental relations and humanities. The answers are in front of us. It's capitalism, it's greed, it's the political system that's outdated that's holding us back. If we're the future and we're trying to make a difference and the youth is the future, then we gotta be here.
You're the environment minister. A lot of people are placing the blame on your government. Is there anything more that you can do to appease these people marching towards your workplace?
Well, I think it's really important for everyone to work together to try to move from greenhouse gas emissions, the reliance on fossil fuels. We're transition period. We're trying our best to transition as fast as we can. We're investing in EV adoption. We're investing in oil to electric programs. That's going very, very well, but we need to do more.
I spoke about youth's purpose and place in moving away from this and dealing with climate change and what it is like to be born into a generation where we are responsible for what is going on right now.
And how do you feel as a young person being born into the problems that you've inherited?
It's frustrating to know that this is kind of just something that has been given to us, but today seeing so many people come out and kind of try to protest what's going on and speak up for what they believe in is very motivating for me.
Well, speaking of students, a few dozen students at Bishop Field in St. John's used a different mode of transportation to get to class this morning. Riding bikes and scooters, the young students pedaled and pushed their way to school this morning. The group began in Bannerman Park and had a police escort to Bishop Field, and the RNC reminded the two-wheelers of safe practices when it comes to being on the city streets, and it was a pretty beautiful morning for it too.
Yeah, it certainly was. Lots of warm temperatures. However, it is going to be a rainy weekend for most of us. Some of us will see some wind as well. I'll break the full forecast down for you coming up.
This weather update is brought to you by Steamatic Canada, the undisputed choice in restoration. Don't panic. Call Steamatic.
Well, take a look at this. It was a wet day on the roads in Gander, and for our video journalist, Troy Turner, who was out gathering a little bit of the evidence.
Yes, lots of heavy rain out there associated with a tropical air mass. About 18 millimeters of rain fell today in Gander. Most of that falling in a very short period of time, as you can see there. Lots of pooling of water on the roads.
Yeah, so unfortunately, all that rain also means some pretty humid temperatures. Like, it's kind of weird that we're this far into September and you're still kind of feeling like when you go outside, it's like, ugh, my clothes are still clinging to me. You know, you get that sticky feeling.
Yeah, it certainly feels like we are right in the middle of summer. I mean, we still are in summer. We're not going to see fall for another, week away, I guess, as far as that is concerned. But temperatures very mild out there, especially in Gander this afternoon. Take a look at your Humidex values. 29 is what it felt like at one point this afternoon, with those winds generally out of the south or southwest, and pretty much stayed humid for a good portion of the day today. We do have that tropical air mass. That is the reason for that. And then we've got Hurricane Lee to the south there, starting to see some of that rain make its way into portions of the maritime provinces. But along that front, we are certainly still seeing some of those showers here in Newfoundland and then up across Labrador. A pretty lovely day as far as sunshine is concerned for most of you, but temperatures are cool though up across northern portions of Labrador. 6 degrees in Makkovik today. You take a look at those temperatures still across the island into the 20s. Humidex values around 28 in St. John's at the moment. Added another 20-degree day. We typically see about 6 in September. Today marks 7. And as we head through the next couple of days, we can add a few more to that as well. So certainly above average so far this year in September. But yeah, tapping into some of that tropical moisture. This is going to hang around through the weekend. Here is Lee here as far as those the tropical moisture is concerned, but we're seeing some out ahead of that as well. And that's what's going to move in Saturday and then eventually into Sunday. The remnant low will move into Labrador as a weak system at that point. But it is still going to bring some rain as well as some wind to portions of the province as well as we get through the weekend. Currently still a Category 1 hurricane, moving north now 32 kilometers per hour. So really trucking along and going to impact Nova Scotia. Already starting to see some of those impacts, but going to continue to deteriorate as we head through the night tonight. Wind gusts topping out at about 160 kilometers per hour. So landfall will be somewhere in western Nova Scotia as we head into tomorrow afternoon, and then that remnant low will move into Labrador as we get through to the weekend. So the system bringing lots of warnings for us in Newfoundland, just a wreck house wind warning, but still we've got tropical storm watches, tropical storm warnings, rainfall warnings, and then the storm surge still expecting somewhere between 8 to 12 meter waves along portions of Nova Scotia. This is a large storm spanning over 1,000 kilometers is where we're seeing some of those impacts. So 40 to 60 kilometer per hour winds, those are tropical storm force winds. They are going to head north. Well, the 1,000 kilometers is where we're seeing the tropical storm force winds. But the majority of the heavy rain and wind will stay in Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. But by the time we get into tomorrow afternoon, we're going to start to see some strong winds for southwestern portions of the province. So wreck house area about 100 kilometers per hour. Otherwise, we're looking at those southeasterlies between 60 to 80. They'll be more widespread as we head through the day on Sunday. So a very breezy day across the island. And then as that remnant low moves into Labrador, we'll likely see coastal areas anyway. We'll likely see those gusts around 80 kilometers per hour, but this time out of the northeast. So rain already we saw today. We're going to continue to see that rain as we head into tomorrow afternoon. We will start to see that for southwestern portions of the province out ahead of the system. As I said, it's very large, so we're already seeing that into Saturday afternoon. That will continue to work its way north into the evening hours, and and then eventually east by Sunday morning, including the Avalon. But these periods of rain will be heavy at times right into Sunday as that remnant low moves up across Labrador. We're talking about rainfall amounts pretty heavy. I won't be surprised to see some rainfall warnings in portions of Labrador, but we could be talking 30 to 50 millimeters, maybe even more, as we see some of that rain move in. 50 to 70 certainly not out of the question. Temperatures tonight will stay mild into the teens. Labrador cold. You may even see some risks of frost in Lab West, and then as we head into tomorrow, we are looking at those temperatures well into the 20s, I should say, with that humidex value. Pretty similar through central, west coast, as well as the northern peninsula. But as we get into Labrador, a beautiful start to the day anyway. But again, things will deteriorate as we get into Sunday. We'll talk about the long-range forecast when I come back.
Thanks, Ashley. No, it's not Cinco de Mayo. Today marks the beginning of the celebration for Mexican Independence Day. Trumpeter Vito de la Paz and his Latin quintet dropped by the St. John's Morning Show studio this morning to talk about the celebration and, of course, play a little Latin music. Take a look.
Un grupo de bandiditos en la escuela musical. Llegó la banda tocando salsa.
I know that for North America outside of Mexico, it's Cinco de Mayo, right? And people believe that that's our independence, but it's not. It's the celebration of the Battle of Puebla in a war against France. But it was not really a war. That's a lot of history. Anyway, the independence of Mexico was given on September 15th. So actually, today it's our Independence Day.
Happy Mexican Independence Day. Yes. There you go. Okay. It must feel so good just to play this music.
It's fun to see everybody like just moving their feet, and it's like, people, I know that you want to dance. It's normal. This is the style of music for dancing. It was made for dancing. It has a whole culture of dancing. Don't worry if you made ridiculous of yourself. You're not in Latin America. Nobody's going to notice. In my soul, it's Mexican, of course, but my heart, it's Newfoundlander. I have found so much nice people, performing in downtown here. I thought it was going to be a nightmare. I come from Mexico City, right? Big scene. Everybody wants okay, if you don't have 10,000 followers, you cannot perform in my venue. And all of a sudden, this guy from Mexico comes to Newfoundland and says hey, man, I don't have 10,000 followers. And the people in downtown is doesn't matter, man. Wanna come, wanna perform, wanna fill my bar? How many people can you get me? And I'm I can get 100 people, and they are come on in.
Right,
you know?
right.
Very open, very people in Newfoundland. It's beautiful, and I love Canada, but Newfoundland is my second house.
Hurricane Fiona, the storm that ravaged Port aux Basques. A year later, rebuilding homes, rebuilding lives.
Still can't believe it happened. The anxiety feeling is still there.
This is trauma. This is something that's changed all these people's lives.
The people and the place. Fiona forever changed Port aux Basques. Special coverage starts September 18th on Here and Now.
Well, returning now to one of our top stories, a cyber attack on the Nunatsiavut government. We know that as many as 7,500 people may have had their personal information stolen, and negotiations took place with the hackers to try and get that information back. On the Go host Anthony Germain spoke with Nunatsiavut's legal counsel earlier today.
So how serious is this?
Well, I think that any breach of individuals' data is on its own serious. The Nunatsiavut government certainly takes it very seriously, as I know, so does our third-party contractor that we've hired to maintain and develop some of these databases, advanced data systems. So again, while any breach of beneficiaries' data or the public's data is very serious, we have assessed at the conclusion of this investigation that the risk to the public is low.
I'm sort of looking at your news release, and it sounds to me that they got exactly the kind of thing that they need to hack bank accounts or maybe even create new identities, birth dates, social insurance numbers. That can reveal a lot of information. Are you confident this hasn't been used?
At this point in time, we are confident that there has been no misuse of the public's data. We have a certain level of confidence, but not 100% assurance that the data was deleted, and this is based off conversations that we've had with ADS, as well as a third-party cybersecurity expert that they've retained to help them deal with this matter. So, certainly we can't downplay the seriousness of the data, the types of data that was accessed by the threat actor. We do feel confident that again, the risk to the public is low.
The release, Advanced Data Systems, is the company you mentioned. It says that they negotiated with the hacker. What did they negotiate?
Any questions specific to the external investigation that was conducted by ADS and their third-party experts would have to be directed towards them. What I can assure beneficiaries of the land claims agreement is that no money from NG was ever put forward in exchange for the deletion of any data.
In other words, Nunatsiavut didn't pay a ransom.
That's correct.
But ADS might have provided a financial incentive to get them to delete or to return and not delete. I'm just going to try to be clear on what was achieved here.
Well, what was achieved, Anthony, was an assurance by the threat actor that this data was deleted. Techniques were used by ADS and their third-party security experts to verify to as much of a degree as they can that the threat actor acted honestly.
Do you or does the Nunatsiavut government believe that the hacker deleted what they took?
We can never be 100% sure that they did. Based on our conversations with ADS, we understand that this particular group of threat actors has given similar reassurances in the past, and those reassurances have been accurate. Because we can't be 100% sure, we're erring on the side of caution, which is why we've issued this public notification this morning.
Your release sort of points out that some people, like their mental health and medical issues and that kind of information, I mean, that to me, putting aside the monetary issue, bank accounts or whatever else, I mean, that is potentially, I mean, it's kind of scary.
It absolutely is. We take it very seriously.
Embarrassed, or it could be used for extortion. It could be used for a whole bunch of, sinister purposes.
It certainly could, and it's difficult to speculate on why why the threat actor would go out and try to take this information, such sensitive information of other individuals, and it's difficult to speculate as to what they might do with it, but we certainly appreciate the gravity of this situation. It's why we've taken the steps that we have taken, and if anybody is experiencing any difficulties with respect to the news that we've released today, we would encourage them to reach out to the NG, and we'll be sure we get them whatever help we possibly can.
Well, speaking of online activity, the RNC is warning people about social media and some of the dangers lurking online. The warning comes after 13 additional charges were laid against 32-year-old Marcus Hicks of Paradise. Some of the charges include sexual assault, luring a child, disguise with intent, and possession of child porn. Police say diligence is key.
What needs to be recognized is these applications on social media, it's about being open and upfront with youth and children who are using these applications. A lot of times you know about the public interactions your children and youth are having, and us as adults, the public interactions are obvious and clear. But when these interactions occurring on social media applications are occurring with people we may not know personally, it's certainly believed to be suspicious. And it's important to talk about that with your children and youth who are using these applications. And furthermore, we've learned that applications such as Snapchat, where it is believed that content is lost and gone forever once you've viewed it, we've certainly seen in this investigation and in others that individuals are screen capturing activities on applications such as Snapchat and using other devices to capture images and video that are sent on these applications. So just because you're not seeing a screenshot, a notification pop up on your phone doesn't mean that that information is not captured. And certainly when you're communicating with someone you do not know, that risk is significant. And to share personal and private information and certainly photographs with someone who is not personally known to you can pose a significant risk to your safety.
There's not really many guidelines besides that we just want your undamaged, relatively good condition books.
The Friends of the St. John's Public Library are looking for books from you, donations, a big event here that's happening tomorrow. I'll tell you all about it.
Well, heads were turning in Gander today as 10 or so Porsche 911s rolled into town just for lunch. The stop was a break on a cross-island ride as part of the Porsche Traveling Experience program. The cars, sporting the colors of the provincial flag, were shipped to St. John's, and drivers cruised from there through some local tourist spots. The tour wraps up on Sunday. It's the company's first time bringing the tour to this province.
It's going great. The weather has treated us so-so, but still great because like right now we're having a great time. Roads are amazing, very scenic roads, very great viewing points, stopping points. We do also driver changes so that they can drive different models, different cars, different configurations. So far everything has been running well.
Lots of books here at the AC Hunter Library, and they want more. There's an event tomorrow, and you might have some books you want to donate. I'll let you know more about that with Emma Craig, a librarian here. What's happening tomorrow?
We have a huge book drive going on. The Friends of the St. John's Public Libraries are asking for everybody's donations in order to support our public libraries.
So when you say donations, this just to be clear, this is not a book sale. You want people, instead of taking books, you want them to be bringing books.
Yes, we know the book sale is super popular here. We have 2 every year. But right now we're actually asking people to give us books so that we will have stuff that we'll be able to use for our book sale that we're going to have later in the fall. So it's a book donation event, not a book sale.
Okay, so this is going to give you the inventory of books to sell to raise some money. Any guidelines about the books? Because I can see some people saying, oh, this is a great chance to get rid of stuff that frankly nobody wants.
There's not really many guidelines besides that we just want your undamaged, relatively good condition books is what we're technically looking for. We don't want your magazines, we don't want your Reader's Digest or your old encyclopedias. We want some good stuff so that we'll have something that we can sell at the sale later on.
Are there particular genres that are most sought after when the time comes for the sale of whatever people bring you tomorrow?
We really just get a wide variety of stuff, and I think that's why we put out this big appeal for books, because we have so many people who come to our sales who have different genres and interests. We just want to make sure we have a good variety. Our friends are so good about like sorting and organizing so that when the sale happens, that everything's easy to find, people can find what they're looking for and buy their stuff and get out.
All right, so people watching this right now think, okay, when does this happen? What do I need to do? You want them in plastic bags, dump trucks? What should people do? So
we're going to be set up by the Children's Library. So when you come up to the front doors of the AC Hunter, if you actually go to the left of the main entrance, there's an accessible entrance down on the first floor, which is where the Children's Library is. We're going to have some balloons. We're going to make it really visible for people, and that's where the Friends will be positioned. So we're going to be out at the accessible entrance to the Children's Library around 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday, collecting all of the donations that people have to drop off. And it's really important that we have these book drives because the funds that we raise from our book sales go directly towards our programming and services here with the St. John's Public Libraries. We really depend on our friends and the money they raise at these big events.
Well, listen, I hope lots of people bring you all kinds of great books for your eventual sale. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming in today, Anthony.
Looking at news from across the country today, the Alberta government has announced financial help for families affected by the Calgary daycare E. coli outbreak, $2,000 for each child. The government says the payments will help offset money lost by parents staying home to look after sick children. The outbreak hit 11 daycares. The investigation into the source continues. There are now 337 lab-confirmed cases. 12 children remain in hospital. 6 are receiving dialysis. For the first time in its 88-year history, the United Auto Workers Union has gone on strike against all 3 of Detroit's big automakers at the same time.
Record profits equal record contracts. It's our time, and all we want is our share of equity. We're not asking to be millionaires. We're not asking to join the billionaire class. We're asking for our fair share of the fruits of our labor. They deserve it.
Auto workers hit the picket lines just before midnight, 1 plant each for Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis, which owns Chrysler, have been targeted in 3 different states. About 13,000 workers are now off the job. The union is looking for significant pay increases totaling 36% over 4 years. U.S. President Joe Biden says he agrees that record car company profits should lead to record contracts for the workers.
healthcare.org.
It's almost the weekend. Time to take a look at who's celebrating this week. Happy anniversary to Patrick and Mildred Parsons of Fortune, who are celebrating their 52nd wedding anniversary today. Happy 50th anniversary to Pat and Lynn Hammond. They're from Gander. Happy 61st anniversary to Harry and Alfreda Pottester from Bay Bulls. Happy 59th wedding anniversary to Marg and Bob Shepard of Bishops Falls, who are both Jays fans, as you can see from the hat. Mary and Bruce Chafee from Gander are celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary. Ooh, check out that facial hair. Happy golden anniversary to Kenny and Emily Gaudette, formerly of Kippens, now residing in Black Duck Siding. Mike and Phyllis Hines are celebrating their 50th anniversary today. Congratulations to Madonna and Dominic Fitzgerald of Placentia, who are celebrating their 59th wedding anniversary this week. Happy 54th wedding anniversary to Kevin and Sharon Power from St. John's. Happy 60th wedding anniversary to Mary and Lorne Windsor of Grand Falls, Windsor. Happy 60th anniversary to Sid and Evelyn Butt, who currently live in Mount Pearl. Happy 64th wedding anniversary to Gerald and Hazel Newbury from Mount Pearl. Wishing Bertha and Boyd King a happy 60th wedding anniversary. 60th wedding anniversary greetings going to Walter and Anita Pierce of St. John's. Happy 58th anniversary to Mary and Jeremiah Osmond of Channel, Port aux Basques. Wishing a happy 56th wedding anniversary to Cyril and Sandra Walsh of Fairyland. Raymond and Shirley Pelly are celebrating their 68th anniversary. A big congratulations to you. It's a 56th wedding anniversary for Harry and Kay Smith of Placentia. Happy 50th anniversary to Anita and Ark Baker from all your friends and family. Now to some birthdays. Fraser Clark is celebrating his 93rd birthday. Happy 92nd birthday to Walter Frost of Hillview Trinity Bay. Happy 91st birthday to Sylvia Roach of Coley's Point. Happy 90th birthday to Lenny Travers of Ferndale. Happy 90th birthday to Bert Foote, formerly from Snook's Arm, now living in Grand Falls, Windsor. It's the big 9-9 for Isabel McKinnon, who's also known as Old Nan. Happy birthday. Happy 91st birthday to Nellie Noseworthy of Clarenville. Happy 92nd birthday to Rodney Ford of Port aux Basques. Happy 91st birthday to Ruth Sanders. She's from Grand Falls, Windsor. Congratulations, Naomi Meadus, who's celebrating her 90th birthday this weekend. Happy 91st birthday to Heman Whalen, of St. John's. Happy 91st birthday to Mr. Francis Lane, formerly of Englee, now living in Lewisport. Happy birthday to Annie O'Rourke from Admiral's Beach, now living in St. John's. It's her 92nd birthday. Birthday greetings going out to Alice King of Grand Falls, Windsor, who turns 98. Happy birthday to Toby Abbott from Musgrave Harbor, who celebrated his 91st birthday. Happy 90th birthday to Bill Reed of Heart's Delight. Pearl Rousel from Robert's Arm is celebrating her 92nd birthday. Happy 90th birthday to Bride Rogers, originally from St. Chad's, now living in Glovertown. And happy 92nd birthday to Job Halfyard. He's from Lassie, now living in St. John's. What a fine crowd they're celebrating this weekend. And when it comes to the weather for celebrating, I guess we're going to get a bit of the remains from what's heading through the Maritimes and Hurricane Lee.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. So as we head into Saturday, we're going to start to see some of those rain bands because, like I mentioned, the storm is quite large, but the remnants will move in Sunday. Let's take a look at what's going on. We're also going to see some fairly gusty winds, especially in the Wreckhouse area, about 100 kilometer per hour winds. Otherwise, southwestern portion of the province on Saturday will see those gusts between 40 to 60, potentially even 60 to 80 for extreme southwestern portions. So as we head into Saturday night and early Sunday morning, you can see that rain will spread east towards the Avalon and north towards Labrador, as there's the remnant low there. It'll continue to track further north as we head into the evening hours on Sunday. Some of this rain will likely be heavy at times. Wouldn't be surprised if we see some rainfall warnings in parts of Labrador because of it. And then we'll start to see the winds pick up pretty much island-wide into Sunday. So some gusty southerly winds between 40 to 60, maybe even higher than that in some exposed areas, depending on the eventual track of the system. And as far as temperatures are concerned, again, another warm day. So 20 to 24 degrees across most of the island. A little cooler for the northern peninsula. Same thing for southwestern portions of the island, rather. And Labrador, windy day for you as well. As you see, your temperatures between 11 and 13 degrees, but single-digit temperatures, the story for northern portions of Labrador. And Lab City, you're going to sit this one out, 16 degrees and some sunshine for your Sunday. As we head into the morning hours on Monday, we're still going to see some northwesterly winds that will be quite breezy for coastal areas of Labrador. Otherwise, this will be a clearing trend as that low exits the province. For most of us, really, we should see some sunshine as the day goes on. We may see some lingering shower activity up across Labrador, but that's about it. Another breezy day as well, at least for the first half of the day for the island. Temperatures will dip back down. Now we're going to see some cooler temperatures. The trend will be that way over the next couple of days. Still hanging on to about 20 degrees in St. John's. Otherwise, teens the story. Labrador, again, 10 to 12 degrees with that chance of showers sticking around, but Nain still in those single digits, just not letting them go. Long range forecast Tuesday, Wednesday showing that dip in temperatures and also some rainy conditions as well. And your overnight lows will still stay in the double digits, just barely. And then for central Newfoundland, your dip in temperatures will come on Monday. Like I said, dry for central, but as we head into Tuesday, Wednesday rather, we'll look at some periods of rain, and that will be the story for western Newfoundland as well, with your temperatures between 15 and 16 degrees. And then for eastern Labrador, pretty much rain right through Wednesday. A few peaks of sun in the mix for western Labrador, but overall your temperatures will be between 10 and 12 degrees. A lovely sunset photo here from Fogo Island. Aiden shared this shot with us. If you have any that you would like to share with us, you can share them with me on my Facebook page, but the best place is to email them at nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Beautiful. You can just barely see the inn if you look really closely. It's easy to spot that on the horizon there.
Definitely is.
Yeah, and unfortunately, sunshine, not a lot of it.
Not this weekend, but well, we may see some peaks of sun tomorrow here in the metro area anyway, but yeah, we'll have to wait till Monday.
I still want to get out and do a bit of blueberry picking before, and it's pretty wet right now.
Yes.
I guess pre-washed. I guess that's
the
way to look at it.
That's the only way to look at it. You'll be fine. Just put your rain gear on. We're used to it.
Exactly. Well, that's it for us. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Good night.